So do you prefer indie or do you like your other persona?
So my actual nickname is Cosmic, but
Cosmic.
through people meeting me through social media, that's where Malrose kind of came from. Cause like Mal means like bad, rose means the color red, and gold kind of means like, wealth and prosperity. So it was a play on like all the things that I liked, and I just combined it to be like kind of cute. I started tarot reading for like an event, and then slowly but surely people started asking and paying me to come. And I found that when I'm doing 100 readings in one night, I enjoy that a lot more than doing like private readings.
It's like Tarot Express,
Mm-hmm.
but it's still effective. And that's actually where I met you. So we were at an event, an LGBT event, and it was zodiac themed. So where did the whole tarot movement for you start in your life?
So I like to look back to like my childhood because I used to be obsessed with things like candles and incense, but growing up in a kind of like Christian black family, that just wasn't something that we did. As a kid, I just never had access to those things. So then fast forward to like when I go to college and I have the room to explore. I had always been interested in tarot cards, but there was this like rumor going around where it's like you can never buy your own tarot cards. You need someone to gift them
Yeah.
to you. And for a long time, I would like drop hints to my friends and be like, please, like, oh man, I really want some tarot cards. And eventually, someone bought me a deck, and from there it just like took off.
Is it possible for one tarot card reader to be so thorough while somebody else is like just scratching the surface? Or is there a point where you're like, okay, I know everything I need to know about each card?
I currently have at least 5 books from 5 different authors that I'm using to cross reference like the meaning of cards and like just information in general. On a particular card, like there might be like consistent themes across, say, if you pull justice or something, all 5 books will have a similar kind of definition of what that card means, but the way they describe it will add some perspective to you, which you would then in turn like take into consideration as you read.
So, and you have a book right over here, and it's the Black Queer Tarot.
So it kind of plays upon like my intersections as a black and queer person. I'm trying to get a feel for it because how cards work is that you kind of get them and then you build a relationship with them. So for instance, today in the tarot reading that I'll be doing, I won't be using my black and queer tarot cards because I have yet to build a relationship with those cards.
Is there something you do with the deck that feels like, okay, you're bonding with it, it becomes special?
It is a bonding experience because right now I have 4 separate tarot decks. There's the first one which someone gifted to me, and I liked it because it was my first deck, but it has like a very like kind of like vampire, kind of aggressive goth vibe. You do rely a little bit on the artwork of the cards to help guide your mood and like how you would interpret them. I feel like people are going to see this too, and they're meeting me in these instances where they could get their 5-minute readings and I'm coming out with these big scary cards, and a lot of people just have misconceptions. So I'm like, let me get something softer.
But again, if you see artwork that you like and you fall in love with the deck, you cannot buy it for yourself. Somebody would have to gift it.
So to clarify, that was actually a rumor.
So now I kind of want to talk about anything that you could tell us about cards in a little crash course.
So on the cards, the major arcana starts with Fool and ends with the World, and every card in between is just kind of giving you some insight on what stage of a certain journey you are on. When you get to the minor arcana, think of it as like the seasoning. So if you pull like a major arcana, that one will provide you context based off of what suite you pull, what number in the suite you pull, if you choose a court card. So for example, like if you pull a wands, that tends to deal with like manifestation, planning, and intuition. So pulling that card will lead you to think about, are you planning your life out the way that you want it?
Is this something that you learn and it's a skill, or is it also sort of like a divine or spiritual intervention or a gift?
A lot of people have like baseline intuition. So many people in their cultures believe in like superstitions or little things that they do to make sure that they are extra prepared for that interview, or wearing their lucky socks or something along the lines of that. Once you start to dive into some sort of medium, it could be palm reading, it could be tarot, it could be astrology, you are essentially learning another language.
Right.
And you are now the facilitator of translating that language to people who have yet to learn that art.
Is it connected to the zodiac, or is that something separate?
You can connect it to zodiac. All of the zodiacs tend to have like a major arcana card that kind of like coincides with them. So like Libra, Justice. And then some of the minor arcanas like cups, they represent water. So typically you try to associate them with water signs.
Okay.
So you can connect the facets if you want to.
Yeah.
But there is a misconception that, if you know one thing, you know it all. And a lot of people are very like interested in astrology now. So
Yeah.
when they come, I had someone like come to me for a tarot reading, and then they tried to like initiate like a palm reading afterwards. And I was just like, that's not my area of expertise.
Do you have a favorite card or one that you identify with the most?
So my favorite card, it may just be the rocker in me, or my favorite cards are Death and the Devil, because of how people react when I pull them out. Because they tend to have like their kind of like Christian Catholic view, where it's just like, death, someone's dying in my life. And it's just like, no, that's not what that means. Or the devil, oh my God, I'm going to hell. No, that is not what it means. So death usually just indicates the end of a journey. So needing to like let go of something, open yourself up for like a new experience or a new perspective, kind of shake off dead weight.
Okay.
And the devil tends to mean like you are either like neglecting your wild side or partying too much.
How many topics are there to ask about? I mean, I know there's love, maybe friendship, money, health. Are there any other wacky ones that are still included in there that I wouldn't have thought about?
So the funniest and most bizarre tarot reading I did was back when I was first learning. I did a tarot reading for my dog.
No way.
I did a tarot
That
reading
is so
for my
adorable.
dog. Essentially how this tarot reading went, it was like really deep and profound. It was something about like your world has been shaken, and you're uncertain, you're scared, you're anxious. And I'm like, why is my dog feeling this way? And then I really thought about it. He had messed up his bed, so we had to take it from him and put it in the washer.
Oh my goodness.
And for a dog, that's like their only possession.
Yeah.
And so it led to him being anxious and scared. So when I returned the bed to him, you could see him like notably calm.
So how specific can it get? Because I asked you generally just like about jobs. And when you did the reading, I was thinking you were going to say like, yes, you're going to have a new opportunity in a month and this thing is going to happen. And it was really more like, look within, because you might not be fully ready or prepared.
If it's like a job opportunity per se, some people would like to, just go, I hate this job and I'm going to go to another one. Then you get there and you find out that the grass isn't greener over there. But that desire to leave your job or make more money so badly kind of like drives you into a situation that either you're not prepared for, or maybe there's smoke and mirrors there. And then you end up hurting yourself because you weren't taking that time to like be patient. So the cards themselves will either tell you like, hey, you need to plan, hey, you need to make sure you do your full research, or hey, like, you know what, sometimes there's take a leap of faith, like,
right.
So it all depends on what you get.
So we could maybe do a reading now then?
Absolutely.
My intuition said I was supposed to ask about love.
I'm going to have you shuffle these cards, embed it with your energy.
Okay.
We have Temperance, we have 2 of Wands, and 3 of Swords. We have here one of our major arcana cards, Temperance. So this to me like tends to be associated with like calmness and basically like balance in your life. In this scenario, it kind of shows like a level of balance and like just like calmness on your state, where you feel very self-actualized, you're approaching things from like a level head, and you're opening yourself to kind of like, I don't want to say like shake up your peace, but it's like, I'm gonna go into a WoW scenario, I'm going to like dive deeply into this, but I'm going to keep my wits about me. I'm going to make sure that in doing so, I don't disrupt the delicate balance of what I know is right for me. This one would provide us some insight on maybe someone that you're establishing a relationship or interested in. So I'm going to look at the number. So 2 in itself, 2 is showing me like you start the journey with Ace and then you end up at 2. So you've taken that first step, or you're standing on your 2 feet, or like there's an idea that has happened here and I've decided to go down this path. And it's just like, I jump in the water and it's just like, okay, I didn't drown. And like the Wands, of course, earlier I mentioned it tends to be like intuition. So 2 of Wands altogether would kind of give this feeling of, all right, I'm just starting out. I'm getting like a clear, like kind of picture of where this could go, or like I'm envisioning what this relationship could be. But at this early in the journey, I can't be attached to any particular outcome. We have 3 of Swords. Now we have Swords, which typically represents like an action, an accomplishment, or like an effort that has been made. And then 3 from 2 will kind of like indicate kind of like the first wrench in your plan, the first thing that makes you unstable. The way that I practice, the way that I carry myself, the way that I move forward, I can't necessarily do that the same way. I now have to consider this other element in my life that is kind of like changing the way that I carry myself and present myself. Like, so altogether, what I'm getting from this relationship reading is that the good news is it seems like there's a lot of stability going into this. I don't see like, I'm not getting the feeling of like chaos. I'm not getting the feeling of like betrayal. It just seems like, okay, we're 2 people engaged in this practice, we're having fun, we're trying to see where it goes, and of course that comes with growing pains, and you have to be prepared to see if these growing pains are something that you want to work on or something that you might envision to be a deal breaker.
Right now that I can think of, there's like nobody on my radar. So I wonder how I would interpret that, because I'm very, very single.
I suppose in that regard then it'd be like, there's no one on your radar, but you are on somebody else's radar.
Oh, I like that. It's possible if you pull a deck, it could be like 3 minors or 3, I mean, it could be so many combinations of things.
I'm particularly fond of when there's like 3 majors, because the majors are like the easiest ones to learn.
Okay.
When you're first starting out. But also, let's say if from 1 to 21 is the major arcana indicating a journey, you can get 13, 4, and 8, and it's just like, oh, that's not as cohesive as I want it to be. And then you have to really think about how the cards kind of play together and what message they're trying to get you to communicate to the individual.
Would you say the goal is health and healing, or what do you think the final goal of everything that involves tarot is? Perspective?
For me, it's about honestly just being better myself so that I can be stable and just, I guess, great enough to help the people around me.
Thank you so much, Malrosegold, for all of the information, for the reading, just for sharing your story and hopefully bringing people to a place where they feel like they have one more resource to go to, and this is just another medium to do it. So
thank you for having me. I'm very appreciative for the opportunity, and I look forward to meeting anyone who wants to do a little reading with me.